Mental health is a life sentence without parole. Too many of us carry invisible wounds, trauma, loss, shame, and silence. I created the Crawl, Walk, Run podcast to break that silence, to give a voice to the voiceless. This is not just a show. It is a platform, a place where authors, veterans, first responders, survivors, and everyday people can share their truth without fear of judgment. We crawl through the darkness. We walk toward healing, and we run into purpose. Together, we will build this community. This podcast is about resilience, about stories that matter, and about reminding the world that your voice could save someone's life. I'm your host, Stevo, and this is Crawl, Walk, Run.
We were trained to endure, to adapt, to overcome, but nobody prepared us for what comes after the uniform comes off. This season, we're pulling the curtain back on the system veterans are forced to survive, not just serve. From suicides happening at VA hospitals, to mental health care that falls short, to growing fears about disability compensation ratings and cost cutting. We're asking the questions no one wants answered. Why are veterans still fighting for care? Who's really being protected? And who's being left behind? And what happens when silence costs lives? This isn't politics. This isn't opinions. This is lived experience. Season 3 of Crawl, Walk, Run, where we stop whispering, start questioning, and refuse to stay silent.
I am Storytime with Stevo, and this is the Crawl, Walk, Run podcast. How's everyone doing? So I have to tell you, this took lots of rehearsal to do, and I have to use a skit because when you go back and do episode 1 through 19 of season 3, the lessons learned, and then what you got out of it as a host, and what you believe that your audience got out of it. And then I personally want to use, out of each episode, personally thank each guest that I had. So I try to make my podcast a little bit different than others because I'm tired of going on different podcasts and watching podcasts talk about the same agenda or the same thing over and over again. So this is Crawl, Walk, Run podcast. Season 3, episode 20. This is called The Recap. And most of the time, I will have the episode up, and I won't be showing myself. I'll just be speaking from behind the scenes. So please bear with me. Like I said, I'm going to read off of my tablet because like I combined all these notes and everything together. And I don't think you realize how hard it is to go back to all the episodes and pull the important data and the lessons learned. So that going forward, I just would like to say, before we even get started, there's a lot of shit going on in the world that try to throw your attention off. In no way I'm going to talk about politics at all, but there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. And that's why I'm doing my show, to draw your attention away from the shit that's going on. So I have a few friends that are in Mexico. Philippines is going through it right now with flooding and disaster. One of my friends that was on a podcast has been in major flooding in Mexico, and then they had an earthquake last night, if you don't know like they want to take your attention away from the UFC fight and 250 blah, blah, blah. I am proud to be an American. I am a patriot. So let's get this done. I just want to say, if you're having a bad day, I'm glad you came to the podcast. So good afternoon, good evening, or hello, everyone. And welcome back to the Crawl, Walk, Run podcast. I'm your host, Storytime with Stevo. And tonight, it's a little different. This is season 3, episode 20, the recap. Over the past 19 episodes, we've talked with authors, veterans, law enforcement officers, trauma survivors, advocates, and individuals who have the courage to tell their stories so we wouldn't all feel alone. Tonight, we're going to revisit each episode to discuss what I've learned actually as a host and what I feel the impact is on the community of veterans and other people who watch the podcast, and how these conversations continue to support our veterans and civilian community. Let's take one final walk through season 3, and let's not delay. Let's get this started. So, like I said, this took a lot of rehearsal. So, all right. We start out with season 3, episode 1, which was my New Year's show. And this was my amazing guest, Tracy, with her podcast, Trauma Rockstars podcast. So season 3 began with our conversation with the new beginning, healing, and moving forward. This episode set the tone for the entire season by emphasizing the importance of sharing stories and creating safe space for difficult conversations. The lesson that I learned was healing begins when we stop suffering in silence. She was very open. She talked about what she does in the community. And I learned that it's not just veterans. We talk to people who are therapists and counselors. We move into episode 2, Building a Healthy Relationship, with my guest, Tineka. This conversation focused on communication, boundaries, accountability, and creating a healthy relationship. And she also wrote a book called Creating a Healthy Relationship. Lessons learned, we learned healthy relationship requires effort, honesty, and self-awareness. One of my best guests, veteran firefighter, Walk Among Hero, award-winning author, getting out there in the author community, working on his new firefighter book. Veteran firefighter author James McDevitt, who is now retired captain. He shared his journey and stories behind his work. I met him on TikTok. I learned more about him every day. Lessons we learned: heroes are often ordinary people who choose to keep going. This story, World War I, World War II veteran, 2 stories in one, and then his combined story, which was totally, absolutely amazing. So, and then we go immediately right into season 3, episode 4, Lost Along the Way, with Jeremy Eichenberger. So I'll just tell you that when I first met him, his journey was a little different. He's a International Impact Book Award winner. Seeing his journey, now he has a podcast. I believe his first episode streams tonight or tomorrow. It's a little bit on different agendas, definitely political. I know that. I want to be a guest on a show and talk some smack. It's a talking smack type podcast, so I can't wait. An inspiring author, his discussion about life, storytelling, and finding purpose through adversity. The lessons learned: sometimes getting lost is a part of finding who you are and what meant to become and come out on your journey. So I learned a lot from his podcast. And the next podcast, season 3, episode 5, from someone I met on TikTok, Josh Pale, a powerful conversation surrounding borderline personality disorder and mental health. He's on TikTok every night. He's definitely going through it. He fell off the planet for a while. He had some issues, and now he's back bigger and better, growing his global platform. So lessons learned were understanding and create empathy. Empathy creates healing, and that's what he's doing. If he's out there reaching one person or he has 50 people on his live, he's definitely resonating with people. So my next guest, amazing woman, confident conversations with award-winning author, multiple award-winning and award-winning podcast she has. This is her award-winning book, Confident Conversations, a discussion about leadership, communication, confidence, and personal growth as a Black female in the Black community. Her husband just graduated the Sergeant Major's Academy. So 2 leaders in one right there. Lessons learned, your voice matters even when you think no one's listening. Amazing guest. I was on her podcast and she was on my podcast. This one here hit me kind of oddly. This woman, episode 7, Hitman Tells It All. This is her award-winning book. It's getting a little controversy from the person that she wrote it about, but she's out there killing it, man. So the topic was The Hitman Tells It All with Karissa Gillsepe. I believe she's in Utah now. The Hitman Tells It All, Real-Life Facts of a Mafia and Witness Protection Program by Zach Caruso. Karissa joined the show as a best-selling author and wellness coach to discuss the story behind her book, the impact of trauma, resilience, and finding healing after living through extraordinary circumstances. The lessons learned, even in the darkness of chapters of life, healing, purpose, and transformation are possible when we choose to reclaim our story. This one here, former brother, 82nd Airborne, out there killing it, man, with his mental health journey. From Airborne, Paratrooper, Trauma Survivor, episode 8. A podcast host, 2 podcasts he has, the Wellness, and then his everyday podcast that he does. It streams monthly. Sean Young, a powerful story of resilience, overcoming trauma. He is also in his spiritual journey right now, traveling around the world. I have been following his journey. Amazing individual. I may get a chance to go up to Gettysburg and see him in September. Shake his hand, take a picture. Lessons learned, survival is not weakness. Survival is strength. And then we go into an episode that I conducted myself, episode 9, Veteran Talk, as a solo discussion covering trending topics affecting veterans. So what I did was I asked ChatGPT what the top trending veteran subjects were, and I covered them one by one and did a lessons learned as well. Got some information from some of my veteran friends on that podcast. Difficult conversations, often the conversation that we need, that a lot of veterans don't talk about. The next one, I was kind of skeptical about streaming because of, you know, how today's world is on things that happened in the past. So this is a German woman, Heidi Langbein-Allen, episode 10, Save the Last Bullet, where she wrote about her father from a World War II family story of historical discussion. He wasn't a Nazi soldier, but he was groomed to be a Nazi soldier. But after the fall of Hitler, he did work for this German government and received some very high honor from the German government. defense of German defense ministry. The lessons learned: preserving history, preserves the lessons that come with it. She's an award-winning author, telling her story and building her global platform. One of the biggest interviews I had was a husband and wife podcast where they've been out on the road for about a year in their van, the van of Valor. They go out and interview Purple Heart recipients and families of Purple Heart recipients that are no longer with us. Dr. Kevin Wallace and Lauren Wallace, they now have 2 books. This is their main book right here, Van of Valor, that is dropped. A journey through sacrifice, service, and honoring our American heroes. Lessons learned: service doesn't end when the uniform comes off. This guy and his wife are out there absolutely killing it, interviewing people, talking to veterans. As we move into season 12, episode 12, I'm sorry, with Craig Semple, his public affairs reached out to me. He is from Australia, from Wales. The Cop Who Fell to Earth is his main book. Getting Up Again by Craig Semple, former law enforcement officer, discussing life after service and rebuilding purpose. The lessons learned: the badge may come off, but the scars often remain. He started out doing public engagements for free, and now he's earning money and putting that money toward his campaign on what he's doing out there with the law enforcement community. And I learned a lot from him, the trauma that he speaks and where he was trying to silence, and he speaks out about what's going on in the first responder world. As we move into episode 13, Crossing Borders and Generations, multiple award-winning author. I got the chance to meet him, talk to him. Probably going to meet him again in September or October when I go speak at an author engagement. Kiril, Kristoff, from the Ukraine, an incredible journey through family and heritage and identity. An amazing guest who supports me from behind the scenes. An amazing person, amazing story. Lessons learned: understanding where we come from helps us understand where we're going. And he is definitely going bigger and better places in the world. One of my funniest guests that I had on the show, Roxy Rich. She's from the UK. She's absolutely killing it out there. She took her domestic violence and childhood trauma with her zombie books, Writing Voices for the Dead, episode 14. She is the author of the Great Pulse trilogy. You can check her out. She's on YouTube. She has her building her platform. Lessons learned: every author has a story behind a story. And she is absolutely killing it out there today. And probably the biggest following of all on YouTube. Lilith Cottonwood, absolutely killing it out there with their story, her trauma. This one was in months in the making. Cryptic Post. I went all out on her podcast, having her as a guest. She did not come on in person. I know her personally. I know her boyfriend. They helped me do things on TikTok. This was episode 15, The Enemy Within. And if you know military sexual trauma, we try to keep the enemy out, but sometimes the enemy is right there with us, stabbing us in the back. One of the most difficult conversations that I've ever had with a person. Thank God I had the videos in the middle so that she could keep herself together. Lessons learned: silence protects trauma. Speaking out about it begins the healing. And she's definitely healing. She suffers from epilepsy. She tells her story on TikTok and other platforms. Definitely an amazing woman. Still learning about her slowly but surely. And then that was the female side of military sexual trauma. And then we went into the male side with Robert, The Enemy Within Part 2, the continuation of military sexual trauma. Lessons learned, I learned from a gentleman, Brian Roop, from Every Day It's Saturday. There are 3 sides to a story. The victim side of the story, the way they tell it, and then people on the outside who know the victim or have been in the victim's shoes or was at the victim at the time, the other side of the story, and then the truth. Lessons learned, recovery is not a straight line. I definitely had to do episode 17, which is situation report and lessons learned from this, because I got a lot of backlash from the veteran community, but a lot of people supported me on what I did and why I dropped the podcast. So I came on as myself, like I'm doing now. A follow-up discussion reflecting on military sexual trauma conversations. The lessons learned, I learned a lot from this podcast. I learned that I needed to vet people because some people tell the truth and some people bounce around with the truth. Remember, when I do my podcast, I am not the judge. I am not the jury. I let my audience decide. And that's why I got a lot of backlash on this, positive and negative. And lessons learned, awareness without action changes nothing. And as we moved into episode 18, this one took forever. Never Surrender, Marine Corps veteran, country music star Scotty Frazier. Man, he's out there killing it on his Texas tour. Never Surrender. This guy was absolutely open and honest about his journey, about his family, what he's doing. I'm growing. I'm definitely, when I'm out on the road, I'm definitely going to go see this guy and meet him face to face. He came on the show, on the podcast. He absolutely killed it. We played his video, Never Surrender, and then he dropped an unreleased song, which was amazing. Thank you for your honest storytelling and your journey through trauma, Scotty. Amazing. Your publication team, your PR team, the Sergeant Records, killing it, man. These people reached out to me. We conversed back and forth and absolutely killing it. So lessons learned. Purpose can be found after service when we refuse to quit. And this guy never quits, never quits, never quits. As we move into the last episode, I'm definitely getting to know Craig Sokowski. Like I said, he's in Mexico right now. Been hit with major flooding. Earthquake last night. Came on the live as we spoke. He is a 9/11 cancer survivor. 2 days on the pile. Entrepreneur, author. He is going to start a purpose tour where he goes around and speaks. He has a GoFundMe. Donate to his campaign. I believe he's going to speak on 9/11. I may go see him here in Pennsylvania. He's going around. Lessons learned. Every day is a gift. Every day is survival. He has a story. It's worth hearing. So, as we close out, I just want to thank my amazing guests who have come on my podcast to tell their story. This has been the recap. I am Storytime with Stevo. Season 3 definitely changed me. I'll definitely tell you. Season 3 changed me. It reminded me that every guest has a conversation and every story carries a lesson. Some episodes focused on trauma, others focused on resilience, leadership, family, history, or purpose. But every single episode shared one thing in common: the courage to tell the truth. As we close out Season 3, I want to thank every guest who trusted me with their story, every listener who supported the show, and every mirror person who continues to walk the journey with me. This conversation doesn't end here. So I have 5 more episodes left, and then I will take a hiatus until October. We will come back bigger and better once I'm out on the road on my public speaking with season 4. And it's only the beginning, people. Only the beginning. The next thing coming up is my Purpose Tour. Where I will continue speaking on mental health, military transition, suicide awareness, your purpose, and the question that I believe every person should ask themselves when they get out of the military or when they retire. What is your 5-year plan? And I really hope that when I'm out on the road that I can make it beneficial and let people understand that you do have a purpose out there. Mental health is a life sentence without parole. Remember, home is not a battlefield. Don't take the battlefield to the living room. You are enough. Keep crawling, keep walking, keep running. I am Storytime with Stevo, speaking for the ones in silence. And always remember, if you have a voice, fucking use it. Tell your story. Be the voice of the voiceless. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and listening to Crawl, Walk, Run podcast, season 3, episode 20. As I leave you, I will receive some information in the future on more events happening. And as I close out this chapter of season 20, I have 5 more amazing guests coming up that I don't want to talk about. But I always believe that mental health is a life sentence without parole. Love, peace, and joy. I'm Storytime with Stevo. Please like, share, and follow. You get out of the military, and no one tells you how to write a resume. You are handed a DD Form 214, your certificate of service, and suddenly you're on your own. I am William A. Stevens, Jr., a retired United States Army Field Artillery Sergeant First Class, and I know exactly what it feels like. I am also a 3-time award-winning author and an Eric Hoffer Book Award winner in 2025 for The Broken Mirror. In this book, I tell it raw, unfiltered, the truth about survival, the trauma, the bonds, and the breaks along the way, especially the bond with my own daughter. If you are leaving the uniform life, feeling lost and disconnected, unsure of who you are, here's how it is. You are not failing. It takes time. You are not alone. The Broken Mirror is more than my story. It is a guide, a hand to hold, a way to face the silence, step back into purpose, and find your voice again. And don't be left in the silence. But I'll tell you, the grass is not greener on the other side.
Crawl, Walk, Run has been brought to you by Storytime with Stevo. And speaking for the once in silence, we are the voice of the unheard. If you have a story, please reach out. Till next time.